Spellbound, the 2024 animated offering from Skydance Animation, directed by Vicky Jenson, was meant to be a magical journey through a fantastical kingdom, but it turns out to be more of a slog through a derivative and uninspired narrative. Despite boasting a talented voice cast and the legendary Alan Menken's music, this film fails to cast its spell over audiences. The story follows Princess Ellian on a quest to save her kingdom and her parents, who have been transformed into monsters by a mysterious spell. While the premise holds promise, this movie quickly devolves into a predictable rehash of countless fairy tales before it. The plot is riddled with clichés, from the chosen one trope to the overly familiar journey through dark forests and magical realms. There's little in the way of surprise or innovation, making the journey feel more like a checklist of fantasy elements than a compelling story. While the animation is colorful and occasionally vibrant, it lacks the creativity or distinctiveness needed to stand out in today's saturated market of animated films. The design of characters and settings feels like a mishmash of better executed ideas from other films, lacking a unique visual identity. The animation style, while competent, doesn't push boundaries, resulting in a film that looks good but feels generic. Alan Menken's involvement promised a soundtrack that could elevate the movie, but even his compositions struggle here. The songs, meant to be the heart of this musical, are forgettable, with lyrics that are often trite and melodies that don't stick. The integration of music into the narrative feels forced, with musical numbers that disrupt the flow rather than enhance it. While Rachel Zegler's voice is a highlight, the songs themselves don't give her much to work with. The characters are another area where this movie falls short. Ellian, despite Zegler's commendable voice acting, is a one-dimensional heroine with a journey that feels too straightforward to be engaging. The supporting cast, including the likes of Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem, are underused, their talents wasted on characters with little depth or development. The film touches on themes of family and divorce, but does so in a ham-fisted manner that lacks nuance or emotional impact. The pacing of this movie is erratic, with a first act that fails to set up the story compellingly and a middle that drags, only to rush through what should be the emotional climax. The tone is another sore point, veering from whimsical to heavy-handed in its messaging without finding a balance. This inconsistency makes the film feel disjointed, struggling to decide what kind of story it wants to tell. In the end, this movie had the potential to be a magical adventure with heart, but it's a film that feels more like a missed opportunity. With a script that lacks originality, characters that don't grow beyond their initial archetypes, and music that doesn't live up to its composer's legacy, this movie is unlikely to leave a lasting impression. It's a fairy tale that feels more cursed by its own conventions than enchanted by its magic. It's not worth to spend time to watch this. We do not recommend this movie at all. It's a fairy tale that feels more cursed by its own conventions than enchanted by its magic. It's not worth to spend time to watch this. We do not recommend this movie at all.